Third time out here at Sonoma Raceway with my 2024 ND3 Miata. It's a club that has the Brembo BBS Recaro package. Full mod list, as always, is down in the description. Main things you need to know is that we have Tecna Coilovers with the sport springs. That's 8K front, 4K rear. Konig Hypergram 17x8 bronze wheels wrapped in Falken RT615K plus tires in a 215 section width, -3.5 degrees of camber in the front, -2 degrees in the rear, with about 7.5 degrees of caster. As for brakes, we have G-Loc R10 front, R8 in the rear with stainless steel brake lines and Castrol SRF brake fluid, and seat lowering bracket, aftermarket steering wheel, and roll bar, of course. This event was hosted by Lightspeed. Use code JABAL at your next Lightspeed track event for $25 off. For those who've been following along, the last time I was at Sonoma, I bested a 159.6, although I did not have coilovers at that time. And by the way, the coilovers here with these Tecnas were at full stiffness in the front, and we're 5 clicks away from full stiffness in the rear. The reason I'm not full stiff in the rear is that it otherwise gets a little bit too snappy, and I need to add a more aggressive front sway bar so that I can run both front and rear at full stiffness, because Tecnas are technically street coilovers. They're not designed for the track, which is why I'm running them at full stiffness, but they're still a huge upgrade over stock. There I was hovering my hand to the gear shift because I was gonna go to second, and then I remembered that I could just keep it in third. I really want to get you guys telemetry as well. The AIM Solo 2 DL that I have is capable of doing so, but the new ND3 has different encryption. So the AIM team, I spoke with them, they actually need an ND3 in SoCal. Love when you can just give a point by and not even have to lift. Doesn't really slow you down much, which is great. Supra being a much faster car. Much better line here than what I've done previously, just focusing on apexing that second part of the turn, not the first. But yeah, if AIM can get their hands on an ND3 Miata in SoCal for a couple of days, then they should be able to crack it, and then I'll be able to give you guys telemetry. So if you have an ND3 in SoCal, then get in touch with AIM, and if they can just tinker in your car, trying to get the connections of the code to work, that would be super appreciated. The car already feels so much more planted with coilovers and doesn't have excessive body motion. And this is just the second session of the day. I like to start easy and slowly build, and already we're at a 157.7, 2 whole seconds faster than last time, simply because of these Tecna coilovers and the added camber with the alignment. And to get that added camber, I had to do the Supermiata OKBs, the offset knuckle bushings as well. And if you're looking for a car that's built for the corners, not the commute, then check out trackready.us. It's actually a marketplace for track prepped vehicles. You have curated listings, a community of enthusiasts, and no daily drivers, just purpose-built machines ready to hit the track. Thanks to them for sponsoring this video, and check out their link down in the description. I'm also getting more comfortable with the car now that we have stiffer suspension. By the way, there's these little yellow paintings, yellow markings on the berm at the apex, which I only noticed at this day on the track. And also a few other staff members and instructors also only noticed it on the track that day. I wonder if it was new or if we just weren't observant enough to realize that it was there in prior sessions as well. But that helps me a lot on turn 4. Turn 4 is probably the most challenging turn because it's blind, off camber, and placing the car precisely is just more challenging there. Name of the game here is just carrying as much speed as possible as you get into the S's, especially with such a low power car. All about momentum. Try to straighten these out at the beginning of the S's to carry more speed here. I should really be pushing further left before turning in. I turn in a little bit early and I don't use the whole track. I should be using the berm. And what you're going to notice is part of the reason I'm now almost 6/10ths down is that I'm braking a lot sooner, because unfortunately these R10 G-Loc pads in the front and R8 in the rear aren't up to the job of you know, repeated hot laps on track. After 3-ish laps, 3 laps at speed, they start glazing over, overheating, and you lose a lot of confidence in the brake. They lose the bite. Even after cooling down, once you glaze it, it's not like it's going to come back. So they lose the bite, and then when they start overheating, they also don't have as much stopping power, so you have to stop earlier. I'm looking to get that addressed before my next track day. So not only do you lose the confidence under braking, but now the balance front to rear changes. So see there, I'm getting more rotation on corner entry. With that trail braking, I want to get some rotation, but not too much. There I had to counter steer because I got too much, simply because when the front is now overheating, I'm getting less brake, less stopping force at the front axle, and relatively speaking, now I'm getting more in the rear, right? So less in the front, more in the rear. That one was on throttle. That has nothing to do with braking, a little tail action there. But on braking, now the rear is doing more. So it's like your brake balance is actually going rearward in a way, right? And that's why you're getting more rotation on corner entry with trail braking as a result. This is now morning of day 2, and there's a very, very slight drizzle, but the track is essentially dry. Luckily today it's a bit less windy than the day prior, and you actually feel that a lot, especially in such a small, light car in the high-speed S's towards the end of the track. It actually destabilizes the car a bit, and it pushes it side to side, which is unnerving, especially as you approach turn 10. And these rapid changes left to right here over 3 and 3A, the prior corners, and even this right here in 4, that added immediacy by having firmer suspension is so, so welcome. If I was going fully track, then I would go even stiffer with my suspension. But right now with the Tecna's 8.4 front and rear, a big step up from stock. And as you guys know, I'm doing this more like mild to wild build, where we're starting off stock and then we added street coilovers, and we're still keeping the Recaros before we get buckets, and the wheels and tires are also not very aggressive. Since this is the next day and the brakes aren't hot yet, this is early in the session, we're able to push our braking points closer to where they would normally be, although the bite is still gone from these G-Loc pads. Carry a bit more speed there. I'm still cautious because I don't know this track that well, so having a bit of margin there, not using the full track. As you can see, we're now braking later compared to the earlier example. Don't love the line there. Should have apexed that later and didn't quite miss the apex actually, but it's still faster than my prior lap of the day. Are we 156? No, but we are at a 157.1. That's improvement. And coming up is my fastest lap of the day. Luckily, it's still pretty dry, even though we have a couple of raindrops here and there on the windshield. You can also see my line change compared to the last time I was here. I'm using more of the track, more of the berms, cutting further here to the right before turning left to get more compression, helps with the direction change. Carrying more speed here because I'm more comfortable with the boundaries of the track, knowing where they are so I don't run off into the dirt or into the wall. Hitting that yellow dot as the apex on turn 4 there. Hugging that sausage a little bit better too. No homo. And here over the crest, pushing my braking point a little bit later. We're 0.2 up, so we should be in the 156s if we can hold this. But uh-oh, we got some traffic coming up. Hopefully this is gonna give us a point by. All right, thank you, great etiquette. 0.3 up. Since the brakes are going to overheat, we don't really have that many opportunities. Lost a little bit of time on that turn 7. But now we're gaining it back as we start the S's. A bit more than 0.3 up. Using a bit more of the track. Could have turned in still a little bit later. But now we're 0.4 up. This is looking promising. Approaching turn 10 and using a bit more of the track. But ooh, as I got on the brakes there, I can feel them. They're overheating. Damn, because now as I'm approaching the last corner of the track, turn 11, I got to brake a lot earlier. And that's me being frustrated of the timing of that. Because across the line, we don't brake 156. We're at a 157.03. Hopefully we can get that next time. Subscribe, my friends, if you haven't already. Much love, and I'll see you all in the next one.